Can we call things to order, please? Okay. Great. All right. I want to welcome everyone, and we are going to get started now. We have all the commission members received their minutes from the April 9th meeting, and hopefully you've had a chance to review them. And do I hear a motion to approve them?
I move approval of the minutes as drafted.
Okay. Do I have a second? Okay. All in favor? Aye. Okay. I know we have some new commission members, and that's maybe a little bit unfair, but I think we're okay. And we will have our introduction of our 3 new members that we're so pleased have been nominated and approved, nominated by the mayor and approved by the council just recently. This will be their first meeting, but so we will do those introductions in a second. But we have we have several people who have signed up for public comment, so we'd like to get started with that. And I think, as everyone knows, or if you don't know, that the public comment period is limited to 20 minutes total of our meeting, and that people who wish to provide comment on matters that are germane to items on the agenda, which was published, must sign up prior to the meeting, and we have 3 people who have signed up to do that, and it's a first come, first served basis. So we are, comments are limited to a maximum of 2 minutes per person, but we don't anticipate, probably won't have anyone else come in yet. So I think we will start with that. Cindy, is that the process would be to start with that? And hopefully we'll stay for more of the meeting if you can, and get a chance to meet our new commissioners too. So we have 3, Carrie Rogers, Dee Dee Bird, and John Atkinson. And I will start with Mr. Rogers. Thank you.
Thank you. My name's Kerry Rogers, and I'm a member of the Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Commission, which has in its statutory language also some advisory requirements for greenways and bike lanes and lots of other things that have to do with bicyclists and pedestrians. At our last meeting, we heard from one of your customers about greenways, specifically about an issue in Germantown, where the Cumberland River Greenway is closed for some construction. So I went out there and rode it last week. Commissioner Lee and I rode it yesterday. And the signage is somewhat lacking, just to be nice. And most of it, of course, is on the street. So it is, yes, it's NDOT's responsibility. So I'm not blaming you for that by any means. However, you know, the folks that are on the Greenway are your customers. They're your consumers, and I would hope that you're concerned about what happens to them when they get onto 2nd Avenue, which is in terrible condition and was never a very friendly road for bicyclists to begin with. And so have any of you been out there recently? Yeah, go ride a bike, and it's not much fun. And you know, when I was out there, I saw a couple of people who were obviously tourists riding on the sidewalk in the wrong direction. And I didn't blame them a bit. I, thought about doing the same thing, although Commissioner Lee and I did stay in the street. But I would hope that you would point out to NDOT, or to your folks, to talk to NDOT about fixing it. I wrote a letter. I hope you saw a copy of the letter, and hopefully it'll get some action. They have responded to me, but it really wasn't much of a response. But at any rate, it's those kind of things, I think, that make people reluctant to use the greenways. I won't even talk about the problems downtown. You couldn't find your way from one greenway to another if you had to down there. But this is just one instance that I think somebody could fix, and I'd hope your staff will talk to the staff at NDOT and see if something can be done. And I will say one thing for NDOT: they did attempt to make a detour. There are some signs, although they're not necessarily where I would put them. But as one example, we found a couple of signs that obviously had been put up several months ago and were behind a tree, so you couldn't see them anymore. So at any rate, that's those of us who use Greenways are hopeful that kind of thing can be fixed.
Great. Well, thank you very much. We appreciate that, and everyone did receive, everyone on the commission did receive a copy of your letter, so I appreciate, and I think everyone's seen that. Thank you. Dee Dee Boyd? Bird. Bird.
I go by most anything. Hey, good afternoon. I've got on my Brookmead hat today. I want to welcome all the new commissioners and thank you for your service. And I also want to recognize the fact that Brookmead Park has the Music City Disc Golf Course open and running. We are working diligently as far as maintenance goes because there's a lot of work to be done. We are talking with Music City Disc Golf every week almost, trying to do things that the community can do to help them maintain this disc golf course. This morning I went down and blew off the tee pads with the leaf blower. It was hot at 8 o'clock this morning. But we're trying to weed eat, we're trying to cut back the overgrowth. We are trying to maintain this golf course. The ratings are not so great on all the disc golf course sites because it is a very difficult disc golf course and people are losing disc, and that's not a good thing. You need enough open space in order for people to be able to retrieve their disc because they're expensive. So on that note, Reclaim Brookmead Park, before we got rid of our 501c3, we donated almost $5,000 to Open Space and Greenways, 501c3, and we are putting an official request in to transfer that money to the Music City Disc Golf 501c3 for their maintenance. And we just wanted to put that on your radar, that that's something that we want to do. We haven't officially talked to the new director because we're not sure who that is. I talked to Cindy about that earlier this month. But that is something that we are so passionate about, the disc golf course, and we want that money transferred over to them if possible to help them with maintenance because it is a huge job. You couldn't be in there every week and keep it cleaned out in the way that it needed to be cleaned out. So thank you for your time and your service. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much for coming and for your compliments to that Brookmead Greenway. It's a special place. Thank you.
Just
Cindy?
point of clarification, just so everyone understands, the dollars were donated to Greenways for Nashville. And I just want to make sure they understand it. So Greenways, the ask will go to Greenways for Nashville. That will come to the Parks Board like it usually does. And thank you.
Great.
She always has to clear that for me.
Well, it's important to get it clear on our records and for everyone to hear that. Thank you very much. Okay, and John Atkinson.
Good morning. I came and spoke to this group in December 2023, and I'm back for an update. I'm a resident of a community called The Woodlands in South Nashville, and when the developer built the neighborhood, he was required by the city to set aside a certain amount of land for open space. And he eventually turned that land over to the homeowners association, which has no board and has no officers. My neighbor chose to build a structure into the open space, 11 feet high in spaces, 24 feet deep, and probably 40 feet wide. And so I registered a complaint with Hub Nashville. The inspector came out and looked at it and called it a non-issue. And so nothing has changed. The structure still exists. The open space is still blocked, and I'm still here. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for that update, Mr. Atkinson. And we appreciate your comments.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming back. All right. As you all know, the comments are not meant for response. It's not that we can't have discussion at any part of our open discussion about them, but it's not a back and forth that occurs. And Cindy can probably tell us more about the rules. I hope I'm stating that correctly. So, but we do appreciate anyone who wants to come and talk with us about anything that could relate to Greenways. Thank you.
I will say, we'll follow up as appropriate on those as staff.
Yes, thank you for saying that. Of course, we assume that, and it should be said. Thank you. So I want to move to the introduction of our three new commissioners, and I also want you to meet some of our current commissioners. But let's start now. We'll start on my right-hand side. Maury Hill, if you will just give us give everyone a couple of minutes about you and what you're thinking about this.
Sure. My name is this on?
I punched the...
Got it. My name is Maury Hill. Happy to be a new member of the commission here. Born and raised in Nashville. Use Greenways regularly. Could have probably taken a bike on the 440 Greenway over here, but way too hot for that today, I decided. And currently work at Silicon Ranch, which is a company based here in Nashville, and we build and operate solar farms across the country. Really happy to be here and be a part of this community. If there's anything else, happy to address it.
It's great. Thank you and welcome. Cedric.
Hello, I'm Cedric Duncan. I have been in Nashville for, 13 or 14 years now. I come from Memphis originally. I came here for school. And I've just been in the biking community for a very, very long time. Just use the Greenways pretty regularly. I train for long rides, so I go from Greenway to Greenway pretty often on the weekends when I can ride. And I currently work at Vanderbilt Hospital doing analyst work for them. So, yeah, but I appreciate being on this commission. I'm looking forward to helping serve Nashville.
Great. We're happy to have you. James?
Hey, good morning. James Moore. I'm currently the university landscape architect at Vanderbilt University. I'm also born and raised here. And before coming to Vanderbilt, I practiced with landscape architects, Hawkins Partners. We got to work on the Plan to Play plan and a lot of parks projects that we're really proud to have been on the team for. So it's exciting to be able to serve in this capacity. And yeah, I mean, my boys and I ride the Greenways probably several times a month. They learn to ride their bikes on them, and we're still out there. So
Great. Great timing to have you come back in as Plan to Play come back in this form as Plan to Play is being updated. It's great. I'm going to ask each of the other commissioners to also, so that we can all start to get to know each other a little bit better. Joseph?
I am Joe Lee. I am a micro-mobility activist, I guess now I am. And I'm, until Cedric joined, I'm the bike representative for Greenways.
Officially and unofficially?
Well, both, but it's nice to have more than one of us.
Sounds to me like we've got a number of people who both cycle and walk, and that's great. Okay. Oh, okay. My name is Jeannie Nelson, and I'm a native Nashvilleian, conservationist, environmentalist, care about the Greenways and open space part of our mission, and have been involved with Greenways or land conservation most of my life, and I hate to say this, but I was the original co-chair of the original Greenways Commission some years ago. I only served for a year before I moved out of town for some time, but that just is the depth of my loyalty.
Hi, my name is Mark Deutschman, Greenways advocate, also transit advocate. I'm very much interested in making sure that we have an amazing urban alternative transportation system for our walkers and bikers and transportation, et cetera. I'm also on the Transit Alliance of Middle Tennessee, and I have a company called City Living Group, another one called Core, and I had a company called Village Real Estate.
Thank you, Mark, and he is our vice chair of our board.
I'm Tyler Yarbrough. I've served on the commission since 2017, and I don't bike, but I'm a passionate consumer of Greenways. I live on 51st Avenue across from the Richland Creek Greenway and want everybody in Nashville to have similar access to what I have. I practice law at Dodson, Parker, Bem, and Caparella.
Hey, good morning, all. Edward Henley. I have the pleasure of serving our city in multiple ways. I'm a planning commissioner, and by way of the planning commission, I serve on the Parks Board, and then also have the opportunity of serving here with you all. I too am a Nashville native, so very familiar with our parks and greenway system here in the city. I share very similar interests and very similar passions and commitment to our community to have multimodal access in all forms. And I think it's a special opportunity for me to be able to take part in stewardship of the same facilities that I, as a child, had the opportunity to grow up and play on and understand how important that is to our community.
Great, thank you, Ed. Clay?
Clay Cap, council member for District 6. As you all know, there's some council members who are seconded into this board as non-voting members, but I'm a passionate supporter of greenways and connectivity and have enjoyed serving for my couple years.
He's also a Nashville native, so.
Yes, that's right. It's not often you get so many of us in one room.
Endangered species is the way it's talked about. No, but loving everything that's going on. So it's great. And thank you for serving on this and on the council. It's great. So I'm going to turn it over to Cindy now to do project updates for us. And Cindy, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Cindy Harrison. I am the manager, the assistant director over the Greenways and Open Space Division. Been here at Parks for about 14 years in the Greenways Division. So very happy to see all of our commission seats filled, and I know we're going to do great things. We have a really awesome commission and appreciate all of you.
Right. And I'm so happy we have Jackie here today with us. This is she does great communications for parks generally, which includes Greenways, as you all know, and that's great. And we also have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 members of the Greenway staff here, so that work directly in partnership with Cindy. So thank you.
So I'm going to hit some highlights on projects, our Greenway projects, and if you all have questions, of course, just fire away. Just some updates. We have 2 440 projects underway, 440 Greenway projects. One right outside our door, connecting the existing trailhead from Phase 1 down to Centennial Park. And just so you know, there's another project happening with our Parks Planning Division in Centennial that will have a trail, a Greenway trail, that we will connect into this and take you to the trail network within Centennial Park. This project is about 0.2 of a mile long, but a really important connector. And we are, I think we've got our last 2 revisions have been sent into NDOT. That's a project that we're coordinating with them on a great deal because there'll be a road diet. And where you see parking right now on the street, that will be, some of that will go away, and the Greenway will move into that space. It will be protected. It'll be raised up out of the street, and there'll be a landscape buffer. We're kind of creating a bit of a gateway into Centennial Park with this project in conjunction with the project that's happening in the park itself. And I think short of going to the Traffic and Parking Commission, once that's approved, we'll send it to purchasing for putting it out to bid for construction. So we're really excited about that. The other great thing about that connection is that it connects you to the 28th Avenue, 31st Avenue connector, which has off-street cycle tracks and sidewalks that lead you down to Charlotte. And just across Charlotte, a few yards, is the beginning of the Charlotte Corridor Railway Trail project that we have planned. So we'll be doing some on-street improvements there just to kind of fill a gap where there's no bike lane connection. And that project will take us on over to all the way down to Farmers Market. And right now, as you all have heard me talk about, the very tedious process of working with the railroad for an easement. This project is a rail with trail, so the rail line doesn't go away. We'll be in their space and also in some easement space that we're acquiring from adjacent properties. We have seen some really good movement on that easement agreement, but we still aren't quite there yet. And so anyway, stay tuned on that. That project includes connectors, as you know, to Frankie Pierce Park, and will also connect to Fisk University. And so really, really great project. Of course, with that connection getting us to Farmers Market, it also ties us into the existing trail network in Germantown and the Cumberland River. So really, a really important project, and that little 0.2 of a mile section right outside of our door is key to making all that happen. The other 440 project that we have is connecting Sevier Park to Gale Lane Park to Browns Creek Park. And that one goes to the Stormwater Management Committee for a variance in July 10th. And once that's complete, we are trying to set our last public meeting to show the final documents on that project. We anticipate that to be end of July or first week of August. We're hoping council members can come, so we'll try to work around your council dates for that. So more detail on that as we get that worked out, but I anticipate that final public meeting, and then that also, assuming that the budget still puts us within the money that we have, will also go to bid. If for some reason we fall short on any of those projects, we'll be looking at capital budget request this fall, but I think we're going to be in good shape there. Whites Creek Greenway, connecting Hartman Park to Buena Vista. We're at 60% design documents on that. So you all had taken a field trip on that a month or so ago, and that was a lot of fun, and I think it was good for everyone to see that. We are tentatively planning a field trip meeting in October and TBD on where we'll go. But just stay tuned for that. We'll try to do it when it's not so hot.
Are you taking nominations for where to go?
Hey, shoot them my way. We've got a couple of projects that are being built within residential subdivisions that may be open in time for one of those. So, or even if it's not open, that might be a good thing, because I haven't taken y'all to one of those yet. But yes, just shoot me your ideas if there's something that you want to see.
They can always get on the waiting list. That's great.
That's right. Mark, you had sent me a question about Fort Negley, that project. So Fort Negley, which is not, the master plan for Fort Negley is not a Greenways project, but we are involved. The master plan calls for a greenway around kind of the foot of the park property. That greenway is not in phase 1 construction. They are wrapping up the last bit of design on that and sending that out to bid, but it's still in the project. It's just not in phase 1. And as you know, because we're greenways and open space, there's property there. We call it the green property. It's historic property on just directly adjacent to the Fort Negley campus. And we received a grant for acquisition funding, $4 million and some change, with several partners on that. That we were awarded the grant. It comes with a stipulation that a conservation easement be placed on the property, and the granting agency is writing that conservation easement. So as soon as that is written, the transfer will happen of property over to us.
So can you clarify for me when you're talking about around the foot of the property?
Around the ring road, but not in the street. It'll be a protected greenway, but it will be close to the road. Obviously, for all the historic reasons and protecting walls and the sensitive nature of the site, the trail will be closer to the road. There are hiking and walking trails that will be throughout the property. So lots of opportunity there for pedestrians and cyclists to move around.
And who will hold the conservation easement?
I hope I'm saying this correctly. I believe it's the American Battlefield Trust. I will confirm that and let you guys know. It's been a minute since I looked at it, and there are about 5 partners in this, so I don't want to say that wrong.
That's great. Any other questions about Fort Negley?
Yeah, the green property acquisition is awesome.
Yeah,
It
thank you.
offers a lot of opportunity for, it's 18,000 square feet from what I understand, and it's historic, and it's just.
It does
super.
have a building on site, and I think part of it is historic. Some of it I think was an addition. So exactly what happens with that property, we'll see.
And then the nice thing about that greenway that comes, I guess it's Fort Negley Drive there. It will come around on the perimeter.
Yes.
It will connect to the planned NDOT street connector from Chestnut to Vanderbilt University and from Chestnut to Wharf in Murfreesboro, so it becomes a nice connector.
Very much so. Thank you.
All right.
Those are the highlights, but.
I have one more question.
Yeah, sure.
Last, I think you talked about planning for 440, the rest of 440, and I just wanted to hear a report on that because there were some interesting tidbits from, your conversations
Sure.
with TDOT, I believe it is.
Sure. Well, as you know, the bulk of that project is in TDOT excess land, and we've utilized that for phase 1, and we'll be utilizing it for the Sevier to Browns Creek Park portion. We don't have funding yet for the design of that connection. We have a master plan, just a conceptual routing plan done. That will, as we move into detailed design, that'll be, tweaked and finalized. But until we have funding for that design, we just have the concept plan.
And just curious, will that include the concept to get to the connector that connects you to Browns Creek future Greenway?
It depends on the funding, but ideally, yes. That it would be the remainder of what's left on that project. So from Elmington Park down to Gale Lane Park and Sevier Park, and then how we connect from that greenway at Sevier down to 8th Avenue and then crossing it. So design, yes. Construction might end up being in phases. It's a big project.
And I guess one more thing. Can you remind me how long is the City Central Greenway, the whole loop around the city?
The loop around the city and the connectors going out into neighborhoods is about 30 miles. And I think we've got about a third of that that's already constructed. It's made up of existing greenways that are planned, right? So Browns Creek, Cumberland River, 440, Charlotte Railwood Trail. Did I say Browns Creek if I didn't? And then the Gulch Greenway is kind of an inner loop that's part of that system.
That all those you were saying are in the 30 miles, not in the.
They're in the.
Are they in the 1/3? It's just to clear up.
Well, there are portions of all of those greenways that have been built, portions.
That are in the third that's been completed, is that what you're saying? Okay.
And then we're looking at connecting out into East Nashville, out to the Cleveland Park area in concept, and some of the other neighborhoods.
And then how much of that is a 440 Greenway? I can't remember how long that is.
440 is about 7.5 miles when it's complete.
That's substantial.
Yeah, yeah. Excellent projects.
Great. And the commissioners have any questions about any of this, especially our new commissioners
I
who?
have a question.
Yeah.
Do you have any updates on the Opry Mills Greenway, that portion of it?
Yeah, so the design is complete and we've submitted a grant application and those awards haven't been made yet. So, we do have a complete set of construction documents either way.
When do you think, do they give you some sense of when they're, when they review these?
I assume it will be this summer, but there's not a specific date.
Okay. Any other, yeah, Ed?
Just wanted to confirm that it is the American Battlefield Trust, and then another partner is the Tennessee Civil War Battlefield Fund. So there's a
Thank
trust
you.
and a fund, yeah, but they're both
Great.
partners with the city on that.
A lot of words, and if I don't have it in front of me, I'm just kind of
Yeah.
trying to remember. But those are excellent partnerships, and we're really appreciative of those.
Yeah, and so certainly anytime you see someone who's involved in any of those groups, please thank them because we need them and many other partners to be able to move forward, much less complete all these great visions that the city deserves. So that's great. And there's nothing like peer pressure, too, to know that people are recognized and appreciated when they do it. Anyone else? Anything that was said that's not crystal clear to,
Yeah.
There's several of us
Which
who've
grants
heard-
are you trying to apply for the Opry Mills?
It's a TAP grant, so it's a transportation grant.
Okay.
Yep.
and that's through the state, is that what you,
It's federal money that's managed by TDOT,
yeah,
local programs, grant program.
okay. Great. Okay. Thank you, Cindy. It's great, and thank you, all of those who are working with Cindy to make this happen. Committee discussion.
Yes, so Ed reminded me at a recent public meeting for Plan to Play that we had talked about this as a group before the meeting, I think before our field trip, so it's been a minute. But you all had talked and expressed an interest in having some subcommittees that might address issues that we don't have time to really work on at this meeting as a group. So I just wanted to bring that back to the floor. And those can be really whatever you're interested in. I will throw a suggestion out that would be, I think, advantageous to the department, but maybe that'll get the conversation kind of started again. But obviously, this would be, your committees working with us on whatever issues we think are relevant. Those meetings would be held outside of this meeting. We would look at, you all could talk about the structure of that and how you would want that to work. But just to get the conversation going, department-wise, advocacy and education for greenways and open space development, I think is something that would be beneficial to have a lot more work, a lot more concentration that you all could be involved in and help with. That can look like whatever, we decide as a group. Education, everything from just getting the word out to the public about rules and behavior on greenways to safety issues, but also I'm reminded kind of daily, if not weekly, that as a general public, they don't always understand how greenways are built and what all happens and goes into that process. The partners that we have, how funding works, the land, the portion of the key part that acquiring public open space plays in that. And I would love to concentrate on getting that message out, so that people, they just understand the process. And we know that from design to opening, it's not unusual for that to be a 3-year process. And that seems like a long time when you're standing out on a greenway, especially if it's one that doesn't have a lot of amenities like bridges and, expanded open spaces. So I just think that's really important, and it ties into advocacy. And we know that the grassroots folks who are just out using the greenways, they may not be donors to friends groups, but they're loved, and we know that. And the people who enjoy greenways are the people who will make it successful ultimately. And so as we get more and more people into the city, I think it's important to focus on that. So just throwing that out. If you don't have ideas today, you can certainly email those. And
yeah, well, let's see if people have other ideas. I think that one thing we want to look at are, topics, and then maybe ones that can be, you named several things that could be under such a subcommittee, but don't feel like you have to make a suggestion that you have to have designed the exact committee. And we want it to be manageable, both for your time and productivity, and therefore, staff support and those kinds of things. But at this point, let's just, while we've got everybody together, because I do believe that frankly, that the sooner we set up some subcommittees, the more effective we can be. And I don't see this as a months-long process to formulate it all with perfect plans, because the subcommittees can come back and say, here's what we want to work on, or here's what we are working on. So let's just take 5-10 minutes and just brainstorm on this. What are the things, and also that what Cindy mentioned about, there are just so many things we don't have the time to get into in the detail to really understand, and so, or much less strategize on how to move forward. So, now that you've had time to think while I talked a bit, Ed?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, as Cindy said, I kind of gave a little nudge when we were at one of the public meetings. And again, I will echo what you said, Jeannie. I think it's important that it is something that is truly crafted by this group, but I really feel like it's an important time for our city to understand how many things that it takes to get things done. I think so often we kind of lose sight of that. I think we just had a presentation from Cindy that showed us how much it takes to get an acquisition done, or how long it may take to not only envision, but then actually go through the process of implementation in order to deliver greenways and open spaces. And I think, with the makeup of this body, I think there's some really fantastic opportunities to, one, ourselves better understand, but then two, become, conduits to our community on how they can participate, how they can advocate, ways that we can leverage our networks to bring things into fruition. Maybe not in a way that changes the process at all, but definitely expedites it. I think when you talk about efficiencies, I think there's always opportunities for that. And we have some great things that are happening. I mean, we're a city that just passed a transit referendum. I think there's a lot of ways that should catapult us into thinking about all of our networks for transportation, specifically our greenways. And there's a lot of development activity in our city, ways that we could engage that community in a more proactive manner, probably greasing the skids a little bit for the work that Cindy and staff has to do, and helping share that vision. And so I feel like those are in no way would be time spent in vain. And quite honestly, I think it would be a great service to our community as we try to find ways to advance towards being a more mobile and more accessible city.
Great comments. Others?
I'm just curious if there might be a conversation with, who's the person who's set to have conversations with the city about transportation. There's a new hire in the mayor's office. Just,
She starts July 1st.
okay.
Other topics that you, or James?
I guess being new to the committee, curious just, what could a subcommittee, not to have a subcommittee to have a subcommittee, but what is the work that you all, it sounded like this came up last meeting maybe, identified that needed to be addressed by a subcommittee? Just curious.
I don't specifically remember. I think it's.
Yeah, I brought it up as a topic. I think it was more, there's an opportunity for us to do more than have report outs and obviously increase our awareness and increase the awareness of those who are in attendance or may go back and watch. But actually something that is a little bit more proactive where this committee could be, again, representing different aspects of our city, be able to say, okay, are there parts and pieces of our open space and our Greenways network that we know need attention and or education, and what does that look like? Are there tasks that we can take on, opportunities where we can support? I think there would be a lot of guidance from Cindy and her team to say where emphasis should be placed in the short term. But I think just as Mark mentioned, our city now has a key person. So how do we have a liaison where someone from our committee says, hey, this is what we're hearing. We think you should be aware of this. We can add capacity in some form or fashion to our staff as well as those new key staff that are being added in the mayor's office. And then obviously the organizations that I think are very well committed to seeing Nashville prosper, but don't necessarily have the details on how. Just being champions for informing and engaging those groups.
That's a good question, James. I think that's, I would throw out a topic, and it's the whole issue of open space. I mean, we are the Greenways and Open Space Commission, and how that works, how we should be looking at that, if there are ways we can help advance or partnerships. And, we definitely don't want to get into, overstep from being governance to the operational, which we certainly completely dependent on our great staff. So that's always tough in these things when you want to get into more detail. But I would suggest that we potentially have an open space committee or a subcommittee, or one of the subcommittees has that as a way to depthen our understanding of that.
And if that committee is formed, I would advocate for pocket parks. I think you've talked about this for years, thinking particularly along the City Central Greenway. As you have a route, what are the small open space pieces that would be in the neighborhoods that would give people access to places along our new Greenway system?
Yeah, I would say a committee on open space makes a lot of sense to me. Somebody new, and I know it's still a kind of a confusing concept, so that would sound right to me.
Yeah. And, I want to say, obviously, we want to be supportive and in line with what the Parks Department as a whole and the Greenways Division and what, so I don't want to lose sight of that. I mean, that's we want to be additional. We want to be thought leaders and complementers in our roles. Clay, I'm sure you've had some things that come up as you're seeing it through your lens as a council person.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, open space acquisition is really a matter of capital dollars that have to come through that budgetary process, but doing the staff work necessary to identify where there's available or opportunities to pick up open space, I think is really important. That probably is like something that park staff, is looking at and thinking about. I know that that's in Cindy's wheelhouse, but I think as an advisory group, maybe we could conceive of it as advisory to her as we see and experience opportunities, or, I think sort of creating the sort of expectation that we as a city are looking for opportunities is helpful, because we don't just have land acquisition dollars just sitting around. So it's hard to seize opportunities maybe if something comes open. But, sort of developing the practice within the department and within this community to keep our eyes open and establish the idea that we want to seize opportunities is probably helpful. I think the other thing that occurs to me is, we've mentioned plan to play, but we should all mobilize our networks to participate in the plan to play update, because Parks is taking feedback and they're going to take that seriously. And so the best that we can mobilize and inform folks that those surveys are important in terms of their planning, that's important because the Parks Board is eventually going to consider that feedback and incorporate it into their own strategic plan.
I think that's a really good point. I think another part of that, I think on a day-to-day basis, each of us should be taking it on to encourage everyone we know. I'm not going to give a mandate that you go out to your entire email list, but you can think about how you can connect, and when you're at meetings and when you're talking about something else. It's so that we're not we're not just passive receivers. We are out doing things that help get that word out. And I also believe that in terms of topics for subcommittees, once the plan to play is finalized or gotten to a close to final something, there are going to be topics that come up and where we're going to go, okay, we need to know more in order to be able to be a good advisory group. So, and Cindy's.
Yeah, well, I would say plan to play will certainly help in the work that subcommittees do. It's going to give you some framework. You won't be starting from scratch. And plan to play update is not starting from scratch. We're looking at 2017, where we are today from that time. We're not just throwing out 2017 and starting over, but new things come up and new opportunities, new challenges. So those will be incorporated into those very valid goals and recommendations from that plan. And it, updated to where we are today in Nashville. And so thank you for reminding everyone. It really is important to get folks out to take the survey. It's online. You all have that link. I'm not going to say it here, but it is posted on social media. Jackie's got it multiple places. It's been out in the Parks newsletter. It's on social media, it's on the website. Am I forgetting anything?
Yes, it's been distributed to all public libraries in Davidson County, as well as all park facilities that have a pretty good crowd. Golf courses, the Centennial Sportsplex, and of course our community center. Those are very important points of distribution, not just for parks, but for the city as well.
Oh, that's great.
So we just completed 5 community meetings over a span of 2 weeks and got some really good input from that. Of course, that's still being compiled. We're seeing a really good response to the surveys, but that survey will be open till the end of July. It has an interactive map component to it that's fun to go in and show we're just very hands-on. And then some really, we hope, really good detailed questions and opportunities for the public to give input. We'll have staff out at various events that are happening around the city. We call those pop-up opportunities. So we'll be out, not doing a presentation, but giving people the information on how to get to the survey and encouraging people to take that survey. And like I mentioned, that will continue on until the end of July.
We also have an ad or a billboard that's running on the Metropolitan network.
Oh, the mic.
Sorry about that.
Jackie, if you don't mind just saying those places where, again, just kind of running through where people can find the access.
So as far as the survey and the plan to play is concerned, we have distributed that information to several outlets. We have distributed it to, and I'm trying to remember all of the places. As far as social media is concerned, that would be Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. As far as legacy media is concerned, we have a billboard that is going to be running through the end of this month on Metro Nashville Network, Channel 3, and we thank you guys for that. It will have the QR code, and people can just focus in on that, and it will take them directly to the survey. In addition, we have distributed survey information to all of our community centers, to all of our golf courses, to the Centennial Sportsplex, to our nature centers, and I believe that is it. And we've also made distribution to all public libraries in Nashville and Davidson County. So we feel like our reach has been very good. We have a newsletter that goes out on a monthly basis. That newsletter has 22,000 subscribers, and so we've had it in there, and we'll have it in this month's, or the July edition of the newsletter as well.
It's great. Thank you.
Thanks.
I will add to that, back on what I was saying about your own individual. There's nothing like an individual asking an individual to do something. So when you know, that it's great, they're going to have the background of, hey, this is out there, and it's going to remind them, and it's going to be that much more, but it's fantastic. But the other thing is to be able to succinctly state the importance of this. And, this draws up the roadmap for how our city is looking at its priorities in the parks and greenways and open space arenas. And these roadmaps are critical to where money gets spent, or where we are all behind something. I mean, I just can't say it enough. If you don't have a plan, people don't know what to do, and they may not aim in the same directions. So I can't say it enough. I mean, I'm sure that there's a planner who can say it a lot more directly, but it is critical without being able to say it was in our plan.
So it's okay for me as a commissioner to share this on my Instagram and some of my e-zines and stuff like that through my network? Do I have to say I'm a commissioner, or should I just say, hey, take this survey?
Please share it with your networks, all your circles. It's easy to share social media. There's a QR code. It's easy to get to the survey. So.
Okay, watch out.
Yeah. World has been warned.
Okay, I have one more committee recommendation, and I think it's sort of, what I hear a lot is funding, and it feels like everything's waiting for funding. It's either going to go in capital budget. I'm wondering about a committee to discuss private-public partnerships, thinking about perhaps our corporate stewards, or perhaps our, development stewards who are helping to build greenways, or our lovely philanthropic body in this city. Just thinking about partnerships to hopefully raise the bar and get more done faster.
I think that's a really good idea, especially because I know I do a lot of cycling events with Walk Like Nashville that they run. There's a lot of companies that are really, really wanting to get involved in greenways and making it more just available to the public. So that's a really good idea.
Thanks. Got it.
Others?
I have an idea. I don't know if it falls within the purview of this commission, but I like to have us to handle a lot more community feedbacks that we have, because every time people talk to me about things, it's either about a water fountain or a bench or shade, right? And we need to know that how do we design the amenities that Greenways users actually use, and when there are complaints like Greenway closures. So yesterday there were because the Senate has an event, so the new Peabody Union Greenway is closed. We can get through it. And there's signage that are missing that spits you back out on 2nd Avenue and doesn't take you back to the Greenway. So we need to be more responsive to community on these. And they don't really know where to do. Is it parks? Is it us? So it should be us that handle some of these, be more responsive to the communities.
And I hear trees and shade too, not in like Shelby Bottoms, but now we have James on, and he's a tree guy, so he.
To Joseph's point, Hub Nashville is where we want to direct everyone with those kinds of issues, because that comes back directly to the department, and we'll decide within the department who, a lot of times it will be maintenance who addresses it, but not always. There's a record of that. It's a very efficient way for those requests and notices to get to staff and to get to the right people. So just want to make sure everybody knows that. And as far as committee goes, that could be under advocacy and education. Y'all can think about that. I'm not trying to lead you. I guess I am, but not really trying to lead you in one direction there. But I think there is a place for that, for committee work, like you say.
I think that's a very good point. I wonder from time to time, and there may be room for this, that the Hub Nashville things that are coming in about Greenways or relate to Greenways in some way, like, everybody's thirsty on this segment of the Greenway. It would be, I know you all get a bazillion, Hub Nashville gets a bazillion things, and the best way is get it out fast and get it fixed, which is what the department can do. But for us to have the information about where are the pinch points? I mean, what's accumulating, what's being focused on as an issue would be a good thing to have the information about, I think.
Yeah, I'll just chime in on I don't know, it sounds like we organize occasional field trips as a group, but again, I don't know what's a subcommittee and what's just a role of being a member on the commission. It sounds like some of these, all of us, are excited about too, but is to almost visit, maybe do more visiting between these meetings. There's so much out there, Greenway and open space wise, that, if there's just, rather than 6 times a year, and I guess maybe 2 field trips a year, it sounds like, maybe of the 6 is kind of what you've been up
otherwise
to.
we all love field trips.
Right.
So we wouldn't be getting a lot of in-person work done.
Yes.
But we can look at opportunities to do those field trips, outside of regularly scheduled meetings.
It'd be interesting, even if it's a well-established Greenway, there hasn't been any new developments on it, even just to say what's working, what can we learn from the occupancy and the use of this existing Greenway that's been here a long time, or a new one.
Yeah.
And of course, looking to you all too, and the committee members, what those, a good distribution of those might be to try to see in a year. And then could be just a high-level report out at the meeting. That could kind of sum up some of the things we just observed in a day, So that might be interesting too. Again, if this commission can, again, it sounds like, kind of take a high-level view of how things are going on particular pieces of greenways or open spaces around the county, beyond the 2 field trips a year, which sound great, but that's a big county and there's a lot of greenways.
There is. I'm envisioning a scavenger hunt to send you all on, but
Councilmember Hill and I have we have an ongoing series of trying to go through every single greenway in Davidson County, and so far we've done most of the downtown one. Yeah.
Who is we? Is that
Who's we?
Councilmember Hill, Olivia Hill. And
That's great. So 2 members are scouting it all for it.
It sounds like there's already an unofficial subcommittee, right? Yeah.
Enough, yes.
Yeah. Okay, well, I think this has been great. And as Cindy said, just any other ideas that you've got, just send and we'll accumulate and
Yep.
and come back to you.
Can I make an observation? So I think we have very specifically in prior meetings talked about an advocacy subcommittee. I think that's very important because all of this kind of links back together to advocating on behalf of Greenways.
Right.
And then the kind of 2 other buckets that I see so far are kind of public engagement, education, and partner engagement and education, right? Which are kind of slightly different.
Yep.
I think we can't also forget the Friends Group and how they help to amplify all of those things as well. And obviously there's overlap between the commission and Greenways for Nashville, but just to not forget the sort of coordination on those efforts because they're doing those things as well.
Good point. Yeah.
Right.
And they do an excellent job of advocacy and marketing, and they spend a good bit of time and resources on that. So you're right, that coordination makes sense.
Exactly. And we would have a representative here from Greenways for Nashville, our interim executive director, but she had a health issue come up and just got something from her daughter right before this, so she's going to be fine, but she was not able to be here, so we don't have that. But Greenways for Nashville, our support nonprofit, is getting very close to hiring its new executive director, and we'll have the final interviews in coming up, so in about a month. So
Yep.
that will be helpful too, as they, as you do with any new executive director, you reorient how you're going about things. So, okay, well, great. Thank you. I think that was very, very helpful, and thanks for the nudge, Mr. Henley. Thank you. Always, please don't hesitate to bring up anything else you want to be sure, and just send it to Cindy, and we'll see, when we can get things on agendas. It's great. So, Cindy, I don't know if anything was sent to you about the Greenways for Nashville report of any...
No, but I will say their Dinner by the Bridge fundraiser is September 25th, Thursday. This year it will be at Peabody Union. There's some issues with construction happening over on the East Bank, and just everyone wants to make sure there's a place to park and easily access. So
those are issues about the former place that it's been, and this solves many of those issues.
Yeah.
So
you'll see through their website and their social media information about that. I'm just throwing that date out for them since they aren't here today. And then we do have, you all received a report from planning. Donald Anthony wasn't able to be here today. I thought there was going to be someone from planning just to be here, but you've got his report. It's a really good report. If you have any questions about it, let me know, and I'm sure he can provide answers on that. Then Tom Palco, Metro Water Services.
So, as an introduction to me, I'm Tom Palco. I'm the Assistant Director of Metro Water Services, and I'm the stormwater guy. So, Metro Water Services has had kind of a big part in open space. What I like to do best in stormwater is to use other people's money to buy flood-prone properties and take them down and restore them as open space. So, as of today, we have purchased 476 houses, created 240 acres of open space, and all that's floodplain everywhere. And so, and we stay very firmly attached to Cindy because actually Metro Parks Department employees cut the grass for us on overtime. So they get an opportunity to work overtime, and they cut the grass for us, and I have that much attention to worrying about the grass being cut as opposed to what I had before, which is wonderful. We've recently finished up projects on Mill Creek and 7 Mile Creek with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. We bought 26 houses on Mill Creek, most of those in the Wimpole Drive area, which were in and around the previous properties we had on Wimpole. 7 Mile Creek was the Legion Fields and Blackman Road.
That's a lovely greenway. I love that.
I tell you, that's nice. And so Blackman, we actually own all the houses on Blackman Court now. So if you know where Blackman Road is and Blackman Court comes off, we've just bought the last few houses there, which are very nice to have. But I need to tell you one little story. So England Park, if you know where England Park is is on Delray Drive, and those homes all flooded in 2010. And we bought everything on the creek side in 2010. Well, the park is named after Andrew and Martha England, who actually perished in their house. They drowned in their house, and their house was across the street. We were able to purchase that house here recently through the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers project, and some of the family members wanted to see the house before we tore it down. And, I'm an engineer. I deal with facts and figures and floodplain maps and numbers. But the son that found his parents in their living room the day of the Sunday of the flood, that's the first time he'd been back in the house since. So, that's why we do this. These houses they're affordable houses, but they're not safe houses. Affordable housing needs to be safe housing, and living in the floodplain and floodways is not a safe place to do. So to me, that's one of the most rewarding things we've been able to do, is to be able to give people fair market value for a house that is not a good place to live, and let them move to another part of the community where they can keep living in Nashville and not have to worry every time it rains. So we're still, FEMA money is kind of dried up right now, not tongue in cheek, but they put all their kind of effort into a program called BRIC, B-R-I-C. Well, that BRIC program has recently been defunded through FEMA, through the president. So right now we're still doing some projects with the Corps of Engineers. We've got a couple projects underway. We're also doing some things that are 100% Metro funded. So we're still buying properties in and around the properties that we've done. And again, we love the fact that parks can use some of these properties. Obviously, a lot of these properties are very well restricted because there's floodplain, floodway, but open space use, park use. We encourage responsible use. We love to have see people flying frisbee with their kid or walking their dog, as long as they responsible pet ownership kind of thing. But again, we've got a long-term relationship with Cindy that I don't see changing anytime. I'm not a native Nashvilleian, but I've got this little pin that they gave me this year that says 40. So I've been working with Metro and stormwater for 40 years.
Wow.
I did raise 3 Nashville natives and sent them out into the world. So they're out there somewhere, so be careful. But again, we've got some conversations going on. Again, how can we use some of this open space that we've created through the home buyout program? So,
Tom,
Ironically, I think Browns Creek Park, connecting the 440 Greenway to Browns Creek, that was floodplain property after 2010 too. All those houses, and that's another super little park.
and if you walk to Hartman Park up on West Hamilton, those were all as well. So again, we're still doing our thing. All right.
Yeah, such an excellent partnership, truly. It checks so many boxes on the goals of the city and the goals of this department. We are.
Do you call yourself the stormwater guy?
I do.
Anyway, thank you, Tom, and everyone that you work with.
And thank you for the perspective, too, for all of us as to the scope and volume of what you've been able to do for all of us. Thank you.
40 years. It's a lot of stories to tell there.
5 of the best years of my life.
Okay, so as you all can tell, we do have some fantastic representatives from other departments, and Ed's one of them, so he's one of all of these things, so it's great. Do we have other business?
The only other business I had, my mic is working, was to talk about the community input meetings I'm planning to play, so we've covered that.
That's great. How many of you all were able to go to one of the community input meetings? So one thing I wanted to say about them is there are just some really spectacular statistics, these huge boards about, about just gives you number and perspective about what's happened since 2017. And did you feel that way?
No, absolutely. I think it was things that I think I kind of subconsciously knew we were going to have. That, I mean, 10 years is a good bit of time, especially here in Nashville. But to see it right in front of you where it's digestible and approachable, and to have staff there kind of walk you through kind of where we were to where we are. It does show that so much has been done. Just also then let you know there's still so much to be done. So that great paradox was definitely present. But I think it's a great platform for the city to, again, be made aware of all of the things that we do have as a city. I know a lot of times we talk about what we need and the next thing and how do we get there. But it's a great perspective to see how much energy and attention has been placed into our parks network. And how it measures against our peers, and areas for improvement.
Yeah,
for sure.
Agree. It might be interesting for one of our next meetings to bring one of those placards that, I don't know where they are, so I don't want to ask for the impossible, but and the comparison with other cities, it's just, it's really helpful information, and a lot of that's going to be in the update, I'm assuming.
It will be. Yes. So
we'll discuss whether we can get it in some of those.
Yeah.
Some of you who are not able to be there.
Is there a PDF? Yeah, a digital form. It can be shared at the right time.
The right time. We'll check it all out and see what we can do. So, be great. All right. With no further business, our next meeting is August the 13th. And so don't forget to put down September 25th for the Greenways for Nashville for our support groups. Biggest fundraiser. And send all your ideas and suggestions to Cindy, and have a great rest of the summer. Thank you.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information on this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.